Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 46th ever Highlight Haven interview. My name is Matthew Heiserman, and today we are joined by JMU tight end Ethan Gurela. Ethan, it's great to have you on.
Appreciate you having me. It's great to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get right into it. I just want to start by asking when you first knew that you wanted to play football.
Really, whenever I was a kid, my brother played when I was growing up, so it was fun watching him. And then as soon as I got the opportunity to, second grade, my parents asked if I wanted to play. Said yes immediately. Looked back from it.
Yeah, and when you started playing, when you were first introduced to football, were you always a tight end, or were you more of a utility guy playing all around the field?
I've always played all around. I almost played quarterback growing up. Played a little fullback too, so I always started blocking, catching, all that stuff. But yeah, tight end was what really came to me in middle school.
Yeah, and of course, you also received offers from schools such as Georgia State, Arkansas State, Georgia Southern, and East Carolina. Was there a specific moment when you knew that JMU was the best option for you?
Honestly, I knew JMU was a good fit for me before they even offered. I watched their season the year before where they made the bowl game and they weren't allowed to really. And just watching that and seeing the way that they fought and just seeing like the culture at JMU was awesome to see. So it was cool to see.
So you were well aware, and about the college before you even received the offer.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, so I just mentioned some other schools that you received offers from. If you didn't end up committing to JMU, let's say that wasn't an option, what school would you say would have been your runner-up?
Probably Florida Atlantic. I was
Yeah. Mhm.
the top two were JMU and Florida Atlantic, so it was a nice choice between the two. But I love the beaches down there and stuff like that, so I kind of called my name, but ended up choosing JMU.
Now, is it tough not choosing FAU mainly because obviously, that's probably the biggest school out of all the schools you got offers from. Was it tough passing up a bigger school to potentially get a little more playing time at JMU?
Honestly, I don't really see it that way. I see it as FAU is the bigger school, but JMU is the bigger football program. Even though
Mhm,
FAU is tough, but JMU's always been the
mhm.
winning team. So that's how I looked at it.
Yeah. Yeah, and along with playing football, you're also a state champion in lacrosse. In what ways, if any, has lacrosse kind of helped you on the football field as well?
The biggest one, probably conditioning. It was a big running sport, so it always kept me in shape. Always
Mhm.
kept my feet ready. Footwork was good. Always, my hand-eye coordination was always great from holding the stick and everything. It was worked out very well for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And during your junior and senior seasons, you had a combined 46 receptions for 810 receiving yards and 11 touchdowns. What's one thing that you take pride in when it comes to your play style?
I see the receiving stuff as being great, but I really take pride in my blocking ability and
Mhm.
my ability to help out the offense in more ways than just catching the ball downfield. Just being able to open up holes for running back, or if there's a screen pass, being able to get the screen pass to go downfield.
Yeah, I love to hear that. And obviously, as an incoming freshman, what are you expecting your role to look like with the Dukes in 2025?
Well, right now the tight end class looks like an older room, so I'm gonna do what I can to try to get in the field as soon as possible. But I'm gonna try to learn as much as I can my freshman year, and then hopefully sophomore year come in there and be a star.
Yeah, and what are you expecting your biggest challenge to be? Obviously you attend Roswell High School in Georgia, transitioning from high school to that D1 college level. What's going to be the biggest challenge making that jump?
Just probably, I wouldn't even say the physicality, but the size difference that in
Mhm.
college.
Yeah.
I know
Mhm.
I'm a big dude, but going from the dudes you see every week in high school, you'll see some big dudes in college. So I'm gonna have to start adjusting to that now.
As a tight end, you obviously do some blocking, you do some receiving as well. Would you say it's more difficult to do blocking against a linebacker or a defensive line, or go up against a cornerback and get some receptions?
I always say going against a corner is like money. It's the biggest thing for me. You see a little guy out there, I just want to kill him. So I love seeing the guys out in space and being able to hit them.
Yeah, and obviously Drew Cannon is the current tight ends coach for the Dukes. Have you had the chance to work with him or at least talk with him since committing to JMU?
We communicate every now and then, but we haven't been able to talk football that much yet. But we had a good talk on my visit about some of the plays and about how I like to run offense and stuff like that.
Mhm. Yeah, and are there any players on JMU's roster that you're really excited to either play with or play against?
Dylan Williams, that's my guy, the receiver. He played at
Yeah.
Roswell.
Mhm.
Uh, He was a senior my junior year, so yeah, we're pretty good. We're pretty close friends.
Yeah, now I actually did want to uh, talk about that a little bit. You mentioned Dylan Williams. As you just said, you were teammates with him in high school. You know, he was a freshman last season with the Dukes. How would you describe the relationship you've been able to build with him over the years? Has he kind of made this transition? It's been a little easier for you. You felt a little more comfortable knowing that you have a guy that you've played with who's also on this team.
Yeah, it was definitely a big. I wouldn't say huge, but it definitely helped out in the decision to go. It was a nice little entryway to get used to the team and be able to meet people and stuff like that already. Also, he's just a great guy. Dylan's a great guy. He's funny. He's smart. He's a great football player. He's got some of the best hands you'll ever see in your life. So it's awesome.
Yeah, now through the recruitment process, JMU recently added tight end Brian Nat, who is obviously an incoming freshman just like you. Have you had the chance to work with Nat since committing to the Dukes?
We haven't talked all that much, but on my official visit, he was there the same weekend, so we got to talk a little bit that weekend. It was good.
And was there a game that weekend? What game did you see?
That was the official. That was in the summer, but I did go to the state game during the season this year.
Mm, yeah. Now, what's one thing that you don't think the average fan would know about the tight end position?
It's probably one of the hardest positions on the field at all times. You got to know everything that's going on.
Yeah,
Most
now,
most see
yeah,
just
mhm,
but it's a huge blocker too.
yeah. Now you mentioned how difficult it is. There's obviously a lot of skill that goes into being a good tight end. You got to be able to receive. You got to be able to block. Is there a specific attribute that you think really helps determine a successful tight end?
Intelligence, and you got to be smart to play tight end. You can't be. You got to know your plays. You got to know where you're going at all times.
Mhm. And is that something that you've kind of gotten better with as you've continued to play?
Yes, sir. I think I was lucky to have a great coaching staff here at Roswell. So they taught me everything. They taught me the defenses. They taught me the offenses. They taught me everything. So I think I'll be pretty good this year.
Yeah, now you've obviously played a lot of important games throughout your college or throughout your football career. How are you is there something specific you do to handle the pressure in these situations, or are you at the point where, high school senior, you don't really feel as much pressure as you used to?
I'm at the point now where I think I approach every situation the same. Every situation looks the same, no matter how. If it's a game-winning touchdown or the first touchdown of the game, it's always big no matter what.
Mhm. Yeah, and is there a specific NFL player that you try and model your game after or take inspiration from?
Brock Bowers, my guy.
Mm,
Grew up as a Georgia fan, so seeing him at Georgia and then do the same thing in NFL is huge.
mhm. Yeah, and on game days, are there any pregame rituals you have or any kind of music you like to listen to get yourself in the right mindset?
I'll really listen to anything, but before games, I always love to text my parents and see what they're up to for the game and see if they're coming or not.
Yeah, and throughout your entire football career, has there been one specific game that you would consider to be your best or most memorable performance?
Yeah, I actually would say that. My sophomore year, I wasn't a starter yet, but we were in the playoffs. We were it was the third round of the playoffs. We were down big at halftime, and I was in the two tight end package that year. And pretty much like half the second half, we ran that two tight end package and brought the game back. So it was
Mhm.
great.
And now, on the other hand, has there been a game that you would consider to be your most difficult? Maybe a specific competition, one player that you had to go up against that was really challenging?
Here in Georgia, there's a lot of great athletes, so it's kind of hard to pick one. But that
Mhm.
our Buford game this year was a tough game. There was a lot of good D linemen and linebackers in that team, so it was rough.
Yeah, now, let's say this is specific to when you're being a receiver, potentially going up against a quarterback or a safety. Is it tougher if that guy is faster or a little more physical? Obviously, you're bigger as well. What's more difficult for you to go up against?
See, once they get, it's all about if they get hands on or not. I'm pretty good at getting the hands off, but if they're good with getting their hands on, it can be a little tough
Mhm.
sometimes.
Yeah, and obviously coming off a victory in the Boca Raton Bowl, JMU has a lot of pressure this season to repeat that same success. What are some personal goals as well as team goals that you have for this upcoming season with the Dukes and the remainder of your career that you're going to spend with the Dukes?
My main goal for this year is to get on the field any way possible. Yeah, special team, playing tight end, any way they need me to win, I'll be there. But for my career, I would love to end my career as a Duke. That's the biggest thing. I want to end my career.
Yeah, I love to hear that. And I do have one final question to ask before we wrap things up. What's one thing that you don't think the average fan would know about you, just so a bunch of JMU fans can get to know you a little more at a personal level?
I'm an uncle of four. That's something you don't see often. So I got
Yeah.
my I got three nephews and a niece running around every now and then.
Yeah, and with that being said, I can't thank you enough for coming on. I really do appreciate it. Is there anything else you want to say to the people watching before we wrap things up?
Go Dukes.
Yeah, absolutely. Go Dukes. Again, big thanks to Ethan Gurela for being the 46th ever Highlight Haven interview guest. And as always, we will see you next time.